Top of the morning to you, everybody!
What the
Too much?
Today we're talking about some sad and tragic news. What the
Okay, good point. Alright, well, I'm excited about doing podcasts.
We haven't done this for a long, long time.
Hello, everyone.
Hi there.
We're doing a special episode of the Stephen and Joe Show today, as we haven't done one in a while, and we got some sad news today.
Got some very, very sad news today. On Sunday night, one of the knights of the realm, Sir Christopher Lee, sadly passed away in hospital, and he was 93 years old. And we just wanted to do a quick show, just to talk about Christopher Lee and what he's meant to film and what he's meant to us as people growing up in Britain watching film. That's it, really.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I don't want this to be a sort of a too sad a video. I mean, it is a sad event, but 93 is a great age to reach, and he's led such a life.
I think if there is anybody that we can say, okay, we're going to celebrate this guy's death, it's Christopher Lee. I mean, you know, he made his name playing the undead.
Yeah.
It's one of those things.
I think he was an amazing and phenomenal man, not just for film, but in general. He did a lot for media. Stop making noise, I know you're there.
Sorry.
I just think...
That was just my cock dropping off, I'm so sorry.
Oh, wow. I think he's done so much, and that's the thing, I think he's led a life full of media, and has left so much behind for people. And that to me, that is a life worth living. Mm-hmm. So I think I would rather celebrate his life.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where I posted this on Twitter earlier, that I don't think there is anybody else, even at that age, who can really say that they have given as much as Christopher Lee has to the British film industry. I mean, he has been in everything from Lord of the Rings at one end right the way through to The Man with the Golden Gun. He's just done so much stuff. He was the archetypical British villain.
Yeah.
But was so good at it.
And not only was he able to carry off these really iconic characters, but also sell in a lot of individual characters as well. He was a very talented actor, not just a showman and just big things, but very subtle acting as well.
That's very true, actually. But really, I suppose we should start kind of near to the beginning of his career.
Right at the beginning. Part of the reason I wanted to do this is because of your love of classic horror.
Yeah. Yeah, I do love classic horror far too much.
Not too much. I think it's a very, very decent amount.
There was a time when I had so many Hammer horror films on video cassettes that I recorded from the TV, because you couldn't buy them anywhere, you know. Yeah. And I was a kid, I couldn't buy them anywhere anyway. But I had so many of these things recorded from the TV that it was piles and piles of stuff. Now I bought loads of stuff, and I haven't actually bought any Hammer because I watched so much of it as a kid that I kind of
saturated.
Missed the boat, yeah. Sorry, Hammer.
Not MC.
Not MC.
But yeah, the beginning.
The beginning was, well, I mean, it's a character that you don't really associate with Christopher Lee. It's Frankenstein, because he was the first Frankenstein's monster for Hammer Pictures.
Because he's a phenomenally tall.
6 foot something or other tall, whereas everyone else was 5 foot nothing, you know. Yeah. Sort of normal movie star height, yeah. And he was on screen with Peter Cushing, I think, for the first time then.
Wow.
And it was an enormous success because people loved the old Universal horror films, and they hadn't sort of been updated, and this was a version of them being updated in the 1970s, I think it was, with Hammer, and it was full colour and, you know, as gory as you could possibly get. So yeah, it was a really great film as well. I mean, it's a very, very well done film, but it was a little while until he played the iconic Dracula character, and even then it was Peter Cushing who was being focused on as the hero of the thing, because he was playing Van Helsing.
Yeah.
So
the thing, I didn't I have since watched a few of the old black and white Hammer horror films with Christopher Lee in it, but I don't remember them very well. I wasn't. They weren't either coming out or re-released at a time where I was into it, so I've missed out on most of that experience. And obviously now I want to go back and rewatch that.
Late night on BBC Two. That was what I watched. No, it was. There was a thing called Movie Drome, which a couple of critics
remember Movie Drome.
I think that it was one of those things that was sort of really, really late at night, but you went off and found other things that were really late at night as well because you like this stuff. So I tended to watch all of those really old Hammer films, and very good stuff. Really. I don't know. That was my childhood. Was watching Hammer films. It's really.
Well, he shaped what Dracula kind of should be in a lot of people's eyes.
I think he shaped what Dracula was. I mean, Bela Lugosi was there as kind of the original. The man in the dinner suit was very much a Bela Lugosi thing.
Yeah.
But sort of moving on from that, it was Christopher Lee. He was Dracula, even to people who sort of knew the Lugosi stuff. It was his incarnation that really sort of sparked people's imagination.
Because he dominated the screen as Dracula.
Yeah.
Like every single scene he's in just is stolen. I remember him just the charisma and sophistication and suaveness that he just strolls onto the screen and you go, ooh, something's not right, but damn, he looks cool.
And he was a monster as well. This was back when vampires were proper monsters.
Yeah.
And that was great because I was terrified of him as a kid.
Yeah.
Right up until the point where they had a showing of Satanic Rites of Dracula. Again, really late at night.
I was terrified of him as an adult.
They were playing Satanic Rites of Dracula. I think, again, this was BBC Two, really late at night. And the announcer said, this is the last Dracula movie that Christopher Lee made. And he dies at the end. There's no plot spoilers. He dies at the end of all of them. So he dies at the end of it. And I went, oh, that's it. He's dead. Dracula's gone. That's it. That's when he died. And something in my head clicked that they're all dead now. So it was a very odd moment. But it's just,
For me, my first experience with Christopher Lee was The Man with the Golden Gun.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time I saw him on screen, and I still count him definitely in my top 5, if not my favourite Bond villain.
He was very good at it, and it was a pretty good Bond film.
But also because you didn't quite hate him.
No.
You knew he was a bad guy, but you kind of weren't sure if you'd be upset if he won.
This is the same through everything. He made a film, I think it was called something like Captain Invincible, which was this awful, trashy superhero film from the 1970s, 1980s, where he sings in it as well. It was just completely awful. But he still had this screen presence. He still came on screen and you just thought, wow, who is this guy,
Yeah.
I don't think there was a thing that he did that he didn't have that presence, even much up to Saruman and in Lord of the Rings. It's just.
I think a part of that as well, not just on screen but in audio, was his voice.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a phenomenal, commanding, warm but
terrifying.
Yes, and eloquent as well. Just his voice just oozed class.
And nowhere do you see that more than in The Wicker Man.
Oh yeah.
Because he's got all these operatic numbers in The Wicker Man. He comes across to begin with as very erudite and charming when he's, right up to, and I won't spoil the end of it because if you haven't seen it and you missed the Nicolas Cage version, which is a good thing, then...
The bees!
Oh, an awful film.
Sorry, I had to say it.
But yeah, and if you missed the Nicolas Cage version, go and see the original Wicker Man, which has got Christopher Lee as a...
Which is black and white?
No, it's in colour.
It is in colour, okay.
There was no need for them to remake it at all.
But that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
They remake everything
remake
that doesn't need remake. Oh, that was good. Let's remake it. No. Remake the bad stuff and make it good. That's how remakes
I'm
should
not
work.
sure that's a good idea.
No?
No, just make new stuff.
Oh, well, there's that.
Just make new stuff that's better.
They're scraping the barrel for new stuff, so they're going back and remaking things.
There's tons of new stuff out there. They don't do it right.
No, it's true. One thing I did like is there's a few things where he did stuff and I had no idea it was him until years later. Which is weird things like Kingdom Hearts.
Oh yes, he did voiceovers for that. I think he did the voiceover for the Discworld games as well.
Yep.
As Death, and subsequently the Sky One versions of them, he was Death in. I think Hogfather. They might have got some. I know there was somebody else in one of them, but I think he was in for the rest of them. He was the Death in there. In the 1990s, Cosgrove Hall made 2 animated versions of Discworld things. They did Soul Music and Weird Sister. He was Death in those as well. And I can't think of anybody else who would be good enough to play it. Even maybe Tom Baker, but other than that, it just needs that sort of commanding presence, and there's only a few people who could do that, and he was the go-to guy,
And of course, he released a death metal album. Unusual.
It's very unusual, yes.
But cool.
It's not quite the same as... was it Graham Chapman turning up in the video for an Iron Maiden song?
I think so.
Yeah. I can't remember which one it is, though.
It's not as good as Leonard Nimoy's pop career.
The only thing as good as Leonard Nimoy's pop career is William Shatner's pop career.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's a moment in history, kids.
Yeah.
But, yeah, but like, a lot of people actually think his death metal album's really good.
I've not heard it.
I haven't either. But it's a case of he's done video games, movies, and music. And seems to turn his hand at all of them rather well.
Yeah.
And radio, obviously, as well, and things.
And, even in, people were saying he was the person who saved Star Wars as well, when he was in the prequels.
Count Dooku.
Count Dooku, yeah. Who wasn't a vampire duck at all.
No. And somehow comes across as awesome, even though having the name Count Dooku, which is not a good name.
If there's anything that's going to turn you into an evil Sith, it's having that name.
Yeah.
Or something like that, isn't it?
I became a Sith. I blame the parents.
I just got a terrible name, and so I decided to be evil. What was your name? Timothy. Timothy, and that's Timothy the Evil.
Timothy Dooku. All the kids at school called me Timothy Doo-Doo. I didn't like it.
Doo-Doo.
But yeah, I think he's a phenomenal person. So many of the characters he's played on screen, I cannot see anyone being able to do, ever.
No, and of course there will be
anywhere near as good as he did.
People that will do it again, but
of course,
it's very difficult to find somebody who just has that much presence, and it's not just because he's tall. We've got other tall actors. There are plenty of other tall actors. They might not be in film because they're not as short as Tom.
It's a class. It's a sophistication. It's a warmth and a humanity and a dripping swath of evil.
I think you have to be. But you have to be that human to be that evil, don't you? You have to have something where people can see some sort of what might be a redeeming quality, so that when you do something evil, people go, "Oh no, he didn't just do that, did he?" Yeah. That's part of the package.
But yes, Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame. Yeah. So very sad to hear about Christopher Lee. I'd like to bring up somebody else as well, who will get completely ignored if we don't. Ron Moody.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, 2 in one day. It's not good. Ron Moody's gone as well, but he was 91.
Yeah.
So, he's done well.
They led long lives.
He's done all right.
And did phenomenal things. Yeah. So it's...
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with us, guys. Thanks for coming along for a little journey with us.
It wasn't a very long one, but that's okay.
Oh, a bit of a reminisce.
A bit of a reminisce, that's about it. I haven't looked through the TV listings somebody somewhere will show a Dracula film or something.
Oh,
over the
definitely.
Week. Go and check it out. Cause
And share with other people down below and have a chat about your...
other people down below.
In the comments.
Like phoning Satan or
Down
something.
below. No.
Going, yeah, you know this Christopher Lee, he was a really nice guy.
Yeah.
He shouldn't be down there.
But no, in the comments below, let us know your first experience with Christopher Lee. When did you first see him on film, and what are your memories?
Yeah, because I'm guessing some of it will just be Lord of the Rings, or you'll think it's just Lord of the Rings, and then someone will go, oh, actually, he was in this. And, what, really? But yeah, so, yeah.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye.